So hello my friends and welcome into After Effects, and this is where we're gonna do some compositing. And this is my fresh render from Cinema Arnold. This is the animation I did a while ago, and this one is comped. And as you can see, I've lit the stone up quite a bit. I changed the background color, lit it up a bit, and then I have some light streak coming in here. And that's what we're gonna do now. So let's jump in and save your project in some great place. And then we press Command I to start to import our first render. And then you probably have a PNG sequence here. So make sure to check this box. Press OK, and then we have this one. Drag it down to create new composition. And hopefully we have a perfect seamless loop here. And yes, it looks good. Nice. Now we're gonna do some folders here, so we are nice and tidy. So do a folder called render. Inside of that we call R1. Place these two guys in there. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I do a lot of re-renders, or at least I did. Now I started to get a hold of it. But don't be too hard on yourself if you notice it's not perfectly seamless. Just go in there and try to fix it. Do a new render and keep on going. And now we need a new folder inside of R1 called AOV, Object Mask or Object Buffer or whatever. Inside of that, Command I, and we're gonna import all our masks. So our metal, our BG, our carbine, our stone, and last but not least our wheel. So there we have all our masks. But I want to show you something, because sometimes you don't get all the masks you wanted. Maybe you realize, oh, I would love to just have this one, this metal part, not because now these two are on the same, but let's say you only want a one. That's actually not a big problem, because then you just need to head into Cinema and just I'm just gonna show you this really quickly. So let's say we only want this little cylinder here. Then we just create a native Cinema material and uncheck these guys and only check luminance. Put the luminance material on the object you want to have a mask for. And our render settings, go to standard. Change the anti-aliasing a bit, so you have not none, you have best instead, and a little bit more there. Save this one inside of your folder, AOV folder. So let's do it, and call this metal syl, and then you just render that. And as you can see, then we only get that one, and it's a perfect mask. Great, so jump back into After Effects and let's start make this look good. So where to start? I think we're gonna start with this stone to lit that up a bit. So then we select our stone material, drag it down here, and then we create a new adjustment layer. Place that under our mask here. Choose Track Matte and Luma Matte. And I'm gonna rename this so you can see what I'm working on. So let's call this stone. And on this adjustment layer we're gonna add, let's say, curves. And then we're just gonna bump this up a little bit. There we go. And maybe we want, it's a little bit blue. I think we're gonna add some more yellow to it. There we go. Oh, now it's too much green. Maybe along those lines. Good. And the next thing would be to, let's see, take our wheel. So it's the same procedure, put down our mask here. And now there's a good trick. If we select our adjustment layer, press Command D, it will jump up to this one and then just hide that one. And now we already have a Luma mat here, so it's perfectly ready to be adjusted. But we just need to take that away and maybe take in a new one. So for our wheel, let's make that a little bit brighter as well. And maybe we want some more red into it to make it pop a little bit. Yeah, that will do. Let's take our background, duplicate our adjustment layer, Command D. And let's see here. Actually, sometimes I do like this. I throw in a U, and then I take colorize, and now we have a completely different look here. And that can be really satisfying because now we can change the whole look by just sliding this one. But when you do this U thingy here, you need to be aware that our reflections will lose, because now we have red reflection here, but if we put on our U, everything will turn into this color. So be aware of that. And so for this one, I really like that we have the blue here, but then we have this red reflection here. So we can try to recreate the color with curves instead. So first of all, bump it up just a bit, and let's see what color we can get out of this one. More blue and a little bit more green maybe. Oh yes, there we go. Maybe something along these lines. And now when we're working with our background, there's also a thing I used to do, and there's different ways to do it. So let's create a solid, Command Y, get a ramp, gradient ramp, put it on our solid, and this actually gonna work sort of as a light ramp, like this. And then we duplicate our background mask. Let's call that BG. Let's call this wheel. So duplicate our background, take our newly ramp here and make it alpha. And then we take our solid here and make it, let's see, something. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So now you can see it's much more dramatic light. It's maybe too dramatic. So maybe along these lines. And that's pretty good. Cool. Let's have a look at our metals. So get our metals in here. Call this metal. Take old adjustment layer, duplicate it, drag it up just underneath our metal and hide the metal. And then now we have this old thing here. And get a... Let's take levels this time. Levels. It's the same thing, basically. And maybe this one's gonna be a little bit darker. Like this. A little bit more contrast. Yeah, I think that's it. And let's take our carbines. Basically the same. Command E, get a new adjustment layer. And they are a little bit dark, maybe. And maybe we want to add some more color to these ones. Or no, it's fine. But we can actually do like this. Put in a hue. Colorize. And drag a little bit. And let's see if there's another color that's cooler. And as you can see here, on the metal we see that it takes some red reflections here, but now it's green, so that's the things to be aware of. And of course here we see our red reflection, so maybe we don't gonna do that for this one. Actually, we're gonna keep it red. But I almost always try hue on some different stuff and just slide through here. And then I see, and then I maybe find a great color that I like, and it's so quick. You can change the look completely by just sliding a bit. So that's great to keep in mind. Nice. And I think we're starting to get there. And the last thing I do before I start to export it is to have sort of a noise or a grain in the background, because when you have gradients, there's a big chance that you will have some banding, and to make it look good in Instagram we don't want banding and those kind of stuff. So let's create a new folder, call it assets, and Command I, and we're gonna import a grain or noise. So this is my noise. It looks like this. You can probably find some something along these lines on the webs, on the internets. And for this one we gonna put it down, and you can actually just take a soft light and press T to get your opacity, take it down to about 40, and now we have some grain going on here. Looks a little bit more expensive, but usually I only put the grain on the background and put it at the bottom, and then I take our background mask, duplicate it, drag it down, and take our grain here and choose Luma Matte. So now we actually only have grain on our background and not on the object. And I think that's pretty much it. You can continue to tweak all these adjustment layers. Now you have full control over your render. But now I'm gonna show you how to export this for Instagram, because I have been investigating a lot to get the right quality and make it look good on Instagram as well. So this comp is one loop, and when you do loops on Instagram you probably want it to loop some more times, because then we will hide the scarf, or we will hide the looping a bit. So let's create a new comp, call this 1080 export, and make it 1080. and make sure you have the same frame rate. I have 30. And let's make it 15 seconds, that's good. And then we drag in the comp we have been using here, wheel. There we go. And then basically just duplicate, place it like this, and make it go for about, let's say 11 seconds. And there we go. Great. Go to your last frame, press N to get our render region or work area to the right place. And now we're gonna, now you don't see this menu, but now we're gonna add to media encoder. So now we're inside of media encoder, and here we're gonna press this blue text here. And now we have a lot of options here. So first of all, format, choose H.264. Sound, I don't know, now my is in Swedish here, but this is export sound, we don't want that. We're gonna press this button, maximum depth. And then to this important part, where it's bitrate. And we're gonna use 2. And we're gonna bump these numbers up to 25 to 30. And then we're also gonna check this, what would it be in English? Use maximum quality, basically. Press that one. And that's pretty much it. And now we're just gonna choose a nice path to save this one. And we can save it in review. Make the date, what is it today? 0.4, 0.9. There we go. Call it something great. Ball. Final. 01. And press OK. And there we go. Great. So that's our wheel. Ready and rendered. And that's the end of this masterclass. So if you haven't done the ball yet, go and do that one. There's a lot of different techniques on that one. And I really hope you enjoy it. And that's it.